Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is March 21st, 2025. And with the elimination or disqualification of Club Leon from the Club World Cup, the big question has emerged. Can Barcelona replace them in this international competition? Also, it's reported that Barcelona are tracking Angel Gomes' situation at Lille. And finally, Raphael Veiga has been linked with the possible signing by the club this summer. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the Barca News live podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, where not only we discuss Barcelona news, but where I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering questions, and getting the discussion going. For those of you be watching when the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline in case you do want to skip through all the discussion and just get straight into the news. Having said all of that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to Goal Kids, Skate Bag, or Fanatics. If you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are in the description. You click on them, you'll be supporting this channel, but you'd also be helping yourself because you do get access to some pretty cool deals and offers. All right, let's begin with the news. And as always, the first segment of news is composed of tiny bits of news all combined together just for brevity's sake. And let's start with Noah Darvic, because Noah Darvic is currently on international duty during this FIFA international break with Germany's under-19 team. And while Germany's under-19 team faced off against Slovenia, where Germany won 2-0, with the first goal being scored by Noah Darvic. And you might say, Mo, why do we care? We care because Noah Darvic was a player that Barcelona signed back in the summer of 2023 from God, what was that team's name? FC Freiburg? Who cares? But he was signed back in the summer of 2023 for 2.5 million euros with the promise that he was going to be the next best thing to come out of Germany, an incredibly talented and promising midfielder. But since he arrived in Barcelona, he has not lived up to the expectations. You know, the first year didn't really live up to it. And, you know, the coach has chucked it off to, well, it's adaptation. He just moved here. He was still young. He was 16, 17 years old. First time away from home. Henry says, SC Freiburg. Thank you. So the first season, he didn't really impress and Barcelona coaches thought, you know, it's first time he's leaving home. He's in a new country, adaptation to the system, etc. But even after that first season, he still hasn't impressed. But here's the kicker. Is that every time Noah Darvic plays with Germany's under-19 team, he's always one of the best players on the field. He always impresses no matter what the competition is, no matter who the opponent is. So it's clear that the player is talented. He has what it takes to be successful, but for some reason or other, he cannot translate that into good performances at Barca Athletic. Now, the club are still maintaining hope and faith that he will eventually grow into his role. But for now, Noah Darvic has been a disappointing signing. Hopefully, he can take what motivates him or what makes him a great player with the German under-19 national team. He can transfer that to Barca Athletic because, honestly, Barca Athletic desperately needs stars right now. As you know, they're last on the table in third division. They're in risk of relegation to fourth division, which would be, of course, a huge blow for Barcelona. Because fourth division, it's technically not professional football anymore. It's going to be very difficult to not only sign young talent, but also to retain young talent if they're playing in fourth division. They're going to much rather go to other clubs where they can play in higher divisions or maybe even in the first division, even if those clubs are much smaller than Barcelona. So Noah Darvic, please, my man, find whatever is within you that makes you a great player with Germany, and let's bring it over to Barcelona. Now, speaking of the FIFA international break, yesterday I reported to you in a video how Brazil had defeated Colombia 2-1 with a late goal by Vinicius Jr. A really good match. I didn't watch the whole thing. I did watch highlights, but, you know, Colombia this year is incredibly strong, one of the best teams in South America. So this was a very tough victory for Brazil, 2-1 with, of course, the first goal being scored by our own Coutinho. and a late goal by the clown, Vinicius Jr. But I bring this up again, and you might ask, Mo, you already told us this. Well, why are you bringing it up? I bring this up because of this incident that happened between Vinicius and our own captain Gotinha. Now, the incidents I'm talking about, and I'm gonna do kind of play and pause this video just to not get flagged for copyrights. But in the stoppage time of the second half, I think it went to like 10 minutes or 11 minutes. Vinicius Jr. was subbed out, just to waste time because it was a very tight match. Again, Brazil barely won 2-1. And once Vinicius Jr. receives the news, he, of course, starts delaying like he always does. And there comes Raphinha, and he's like, dude, just get the fuck out, man. Like, enough with the... And look, what does Vinicius do? He starts wasting time again, taking off his socks, washing his feet, cleaning his butthole. And there comes Raphinha again. He's like, dude, just get off the field. You're going to get a yellow card. By the way, Vinicius Jr. had already had a yellow card in a previous match. And as you know, in the World Cup qualifiers in South America, every 2 yellow cards is a 1-match suspension. So had Vinicius Jr. received a yellow card, he would have been suspended for the next match, which is, of course, against Argentina, an incredibly important match for Brazil. Argentina are currently at the top of the table for the World Cup qualifiers. And this just shows 2 things. It shows, how Raphinha has become an absolute leader, not just in the locker room at Barcelona, but even a leader of the Brazilian team, despite Neymar being there and despite him not being, the captain during this match. So it just goes to show the winning mentality of Raphinha, who, technically he would benefit from this. Technically he would benefit from Vinicius wasting time because they're on the same team. But that's not what Raphinha is about. Raphinha is about, being competitive, winning the right way, and not, sticking to shenanigans that Vinicius Jr. likes to pull. Now, the crazy thing is, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again, I just don't understand why Vinicius does this. He's an incredibly talented player. Really, really good. One of the best swingers in the entire world. Very, very talented player. There's no need to be doing this. This is constant in every single match. It's gotten to the point where his own teammates on Real Madrid have starting to get sick of him and just there's matches where you've seen Real Madrid players telling him, dude, just shut up. His own coach, Ancelotti, has told him to shut up on so many occasions, but he continues to do it, constantly picking fights with opposing players, constantly picking fights with refs, constantly picking fights with coaches, taunting the opposing fans like, why, bro? Why are you doing this? You could easily be a player who's loved all around the world because you're so talented, but yet because you do this kind of shit, nobody stands you. The only people that stand you is Real Madrid fans, and even then, there are plenty of Real Madrid fans who have become sick and tired of this guy's shenanigans, and it's an absolute waste because these kind of shenanigans is usually done by players of lower quality. They have to do it. They have to make up for their lack of talent. But here we have a guy who's incredibly talented. He doesn't need to be pulling these kind of stunts, but he insists on doing it. And not only is it unnecessary, but it's created this hatred towards him where he could easily be an incredibly loved player. Look at Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho got a standing ovation at the freaking Bernabeu because he focused on playing. He focused on entertaining. So even opposing fans used to applaud him because they just appreciated his talent. Vinicius could be one of those guys. He could be getting standing ovations on stadiums. Instead, he gets, insults, racist chants, unfortunately. But, you reap what you sow. And I'm not justifying the racism part. I'm justifying, the insults and the hatred because, honestly, I've never despised a player like I've despised Vinicius. And no, it's not because he's black. I know he loves to throw that race card in there. It's because of his attitude. It doesn't matter if he's white, black, brown, or purple. If you act like that, people are just not going to like you. Anyways, let's move on to the last bit of news because, ladies and gentlemen, León, the Mexican club or the club from the Liga MX have been disqualified from the Club World Cup. The reason for it is because there's a rule in FIFA that prevents several clubs owned by the same owner to participate in the Club World Cup. So there's León and then there's Pachuca. They're both owned by the same group or the same investment group or the same company, whatever you want to call it. So FIFA have decided to disqualify León. They've kept Pachuca. León is not going to play. And this, of course, has raised the question all over social media. Can Barcelona replace Leon? Because FIFA have not chosen a replacement for Leon yet. They've said that they're going to choose one in appropriate time. So a lot of fans have gotten their hopes up saying, oh, maybe Barcelona can go to this Club World Cup. Of course, we did not qualify because of our poor performance in the Champions League during the last few seasons. It's going to mean that we're going to miss out on a lot of money. You know, clubs get, I think it's 55 million euros just for showing up. That's not counting winning and bonuses and qualifying to different stages just for showing up. 50 million that Barcelona are not going to make. So the question is, you know, can Barcelona replace Leon? And well, the answer is no. Why? Because every football federation, you know, and there's Europe, Africa, Asia, whatever, or confederation, I should say, has a certain amount of slots, right? So Leon, they play in the CONCACAF, so they've been eliminated. So of course, FIFA are going to replace them with another CONCACAF club. It wouldn't be fair that a slot that was awarded to CONCACAF be taken out by a European club. And even if FIFA decided, you know what, CONCACAF sucks, let's throw in another European team, the next on the list would be Ajax. Ajax have a higher score than Barcelona. So even if FIFA decided not to replace Leon with another CONCACAF club, it would be Ajax. And even if they decided, hey, Ajax also sucks, F them, the next one in line is Liverpool. So the simple answer is no. Barcelona are not going to replace Leon in the Club World Cup. Sorry to break that news, but it needed to be said because I've seen a lot of people getting their hopes up. Anyways, let's do the comment section, and then we are going to talk about Angel Gomes and my man, Cornell. What's up, brother? Cornell's a really good friend that I met during a trip to Barcelona. He is part of one of the Peñas. I can't remember what Peña you're from, Cornell, but he's in the military. So thank you, my friend, for your service. But I met him in Barcelona. We went to a match at Montjuic against Valencia. I had a great time with him. Shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your comment. And Triple X says, Barca tracking a player for the 1,000th times only to lose him to some other team for like 10 million. Well, that's just normal. Every club will track hundreds of players at one time. That's what sporting directors do. That's what scouts do. That's literally their job. It's very unrealistic to think that, oh, we need one player for one position, so we're only going to track one player. No, if you need, like, say, a left winger, a club is going to be tracking like 50 left wingers, right? Because they want to see how they do. Would they fit in the system that we have? Strengths, weaknesses. So they make reports about dozens and dozens of players just for one position. And then the sporting director goes all over these options and decides which ones are the best ones. And then from those, they decide which ones they can will actually be free. Can they afford the transfer fee? Can we afford their salary? So this is just the nature of the game. You know, I always see this comment like, oh, Barcelona tracking all these guys. Yeah, every club does. Every club tracks hundreds of players a year. It's nothing out of normal. And of course, they're going to miss out on most of them because guess what? You only allowed, 26 players? If you're tracking hundreds, you're not going to be able to sign hundreds. You're going to lose out on a lot more than what you actually sign, because if you only need one left winger and you're tracking 50, you're going to miss out on 49. So it doesn't mean that you suck or you're not doing your job. It's just you cannot sign all 50, right? So it's just the nature of the game. I see this comment a lot, so I guess I decided to explain it. So maybe hopefully that helps clarify. Look, Harris says, hi, Mo. I'm happy to be on the live show. I just from work. Hope all will be well with Barcelona players with this information playing. Thank you, my friend, for watching and for your comment. I do have another video that I'm posting about this. A lot of it is about the players that are currently on the international break, so make sure to watch it. And Bobby says, hi, Mo, I need to turn on notifications for you so I can be on time. Yes, please. Hit that bell button. Also, subscribe, because if you're not subscribed, you don't get notifications, and you don't want to miss out on all this news. All right, let's do the next bit of news, because speaking of tracking players, Barcelona are currently tracking the situation of Angel Gomes. Now, if you don't know who Angel Gomes is, he was at one point a Manchester United Academy prospect. He came out through the Manchester United's Academy prospect. He was a very promising player. Kind of didn't really work out for him at first. He ended up leaving to Lille. He joined Lille in 2020. He's been there for a while. He went on loan to another club. I can't remember what it is. But he has been having a pretty good season. It looks like he's finally growing into his role at 24 years old, and he is not going to be renewing with Lille. His contract expires at the end of the season, and he is looking for a new challenge. And of course, Barcelona are always after free agents, given our financial situation, given our terrible financial fair play, thanks to the clown Javier Tebas. So of course, Barcelona are now, tracking the situation of Angel Gomes, because if he's a free agent, Barcelona have to consider him. It's the reality. This is where we at. We're at the point where we have to consider every free agent because of our finances and our financial fair play. Now, Angel Gomes is an attacking midfielder, and you might say, Mo, why is Barcelona considering an attacking midfielder? We have 239 attacking midfielders. Well, the thing is, he's a versatile attacking midfielder. He can also play on the left wing. Remember, something that we don't have, a specialist in that position. And he also can play in deeper roles in the midfield. So not only as an attacking midfielder, he can play in several positions in the midfield. And of course, on the left wing, he's young, he's promising, he's talented, he'll be free. So of course, Barcelona are considering this role. Now, of course, there are other clubs interested in him, not only because he's promising, but also because, he's free. Who doesn't want free stuff, right? I want free stuff. And one of the clubs that are very, very interested in him is West Ham. We don't know what the player's intentions or plans are. So for now, Barcelona are just going to, track and see, hey, maybe he's interested, maybe he's not. They're saying that he might prefer to stay in the Premier, or to go back to the Premier League, I should say, not stay, because he's at Lille now. So we have to wait and see. We'll monitor the situation, of course, and I'll give you any updates in regards to Angel Gomes. Of course, my question to you is, would you like to see Angel Gomes in Barcelona? Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Let me know in the chat section or in the comment section if you're watching this when it ends. All right, let's do the comments again. And Diski Tactics says the South African young left-winger sensation Rele Mofokeng continues to shine, recently playing and scored for South Africa today. Yes, Mofokeng is definitely on the list of Barcelona, of players that Barcelona are currently tracking. I personally have not seen him play. But from what I've read, the reports, etc., it looks like to be a promising player. I'm thinking of starting making reaction videos where maybe together we can watch like highlight videos of players who Barcelona are tracking. So maybe my first video can be about Mofokeng. By the way, really cool name. So let me know if you guys think that's a good idea. Siabonga says, hey Mo, what a time to be alive. I was lucky to see Rivaldo, Romario, Brazilian Ronaldo, a real Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Messi, and now we are blessed with Lamine. It has honestly been great. Yes, my friend. I'm jealous because I didn't get to see Rivaldo or Romario. I was too young. Not that I'm calling you old. I'm old myself. I started watching football in early 2000s. I think I watched the 98 World Cup, but at the time I was 8 years old, so I don't really remember it that well. But I started like really paying attention to football in the early 2000s, the 2002 World Cup, Korea, Japan. I watched the entire thing. I used to wake up like super early, 2, 3 in the morning to watch those matches. And that's when I fell in love with the Brazilian national team, at the time, Ronaldinho, the real Ronaldo, not the crybaby Penaldo. Cafu, Roberto Carlos, all those guys. I fell in love with that squad. To me, one of the best international squads in history. And that's how I became a Barca fan, right? Because Barcelona signed Ronaldinho, and I was like, all right, Ronaldinho's my guy. He's my favorite player. Wait, I just noticed this is blurry. There we go. My favorite player was Ronaldinho. So when Barcelona signed him, I was like, all right, I guess I'm a Barca fan. And then from there, I just never stopped. So I've been a Barca fan for, I don't know, 20 years now. God, it feels old saying that. But I didn't get the. I guess I did see Rivaldo, but it was more towards the end of his career. But I didn't get to see Romario. But yeah, you're right. Like whenever you think it's it, like that's it, you've seen it all. Like Ronaldinho, you're like, all right, Ronaldinho leaves. Well, that's it, right? We're not gonna see a talent like him. And then bam, comes Messi, and you're like, we enjoy Messi for 15, 20 years, and then you're like, all right, that's it. Like we're not gonna see anything like him. And bam, comes Lamine, and it's like. This academy, I mean, Ronaldinho didn't come from the academy, but this academy, the La Masia, is honestly the best academy in the world. And these nuts, says Mo, what do you think about Faye's potential? He seems like a player with a really high ceiling. I think that ship has sailed a long time ago. Whether he has potential or not, I think at this point is irrelevant. Barcelona had a plan for him to develop him, to grow him into the player they thought he could be. He was in a hurry. He was demanding a first spot team. So, That ship has sailed. Oh, Texas Transplant celebrating 10 months as being a member. Thank you so much, my friend, for your support. But says, sup, my brother. I can't believe it's almost been a year. How time flies. Germany beat Italy at San Siro yesterday. So I'm happy, happy, happy. Stay cool, bro, and have a great weekend. Thank you, my friend. Have a great weekend as well. And yes, time is flying, my friend. And, I always wondered why every year it feels faster. And then I remember one of this attorney I worked with, he was like, well, it's all about relativeness, right? For example, if you're 1 year old and you turn two, from 1 to 2, you just relived your whole life all over again, right? Because you had only been alive for 1 year and you just lived for another year, right? So it feels eternal, right? But the older you get, the smaller it feels, right? If you go from, let's say, 49 to 50, you just relived 149th of your life all over again, right? So that's why it just keeps feeling shorter, shorter. I mean, this year is already flying. It's almost April. I feel like New Year's was last night, so it's crazy. But yeah, time flies. Enjoy your weekend, my friend. Crack a beer for me. Crack open a beer for me. And with that, let's get back to the news because there's another player that Barcelona are being linked with. This is someone who actually Barcelona has been linked with in the past, but now it might be a more affordable option. Let's put it this way. And it's no other than, and I'm going to say it in Portuguese, Raphael Veiga, who is a 29-year-old attacking midfielder currently playing for Palmeiras. Now, Raphael Veiga, and this is why this news is, I guess, has some weight behind it, and it's not just a rumor coming out of the hot off the rumor mill. Raphael Veiga, his agent is Andre Curie, the same agent as Bitoroki, and the former agent of Neymar, someone who has a very close relationship with Barcelona, someone who is big and huge in the Brazilian market. I'm not talking about his, downstairs. And he has confirmed that Barcelona are indeed tracking and interested in Raphael Veiga. Now, Raphael Veiga is an attacking midfielder. And you might say, Mo, we have a million attacking midfielders. What are we doing? Well, the thing is, he's a very creative attacking midfielder, and it will be a low-cost option. Now, his contract expires December of 2026, but nonetheless, it's reported that Palmeiras would be willing to let him go for 15 million euros. So Barcelona consider this a good reinforcement for the team because it will be low cost. You're bringing an attacking midfielder in his prime, who's creative, who's good, who's talented, for a very low cost. And you might say, well, Mo, he doesn't have European experience. And that, true. That's a valid point. However, he has won 2 Copa Libertadores. So it might not be the Champions League, but it's definitely a big deal because I think after the Champions League, it's Copa Libertadores. Which, by the way, I've started to get into a little bit more lately. I used to watch it when I was much younger. I watched it when Neymar used to be at Santos. It's a really, really entertaining competition. A lot more competitive than the Champions League. That doesn't mean that the level is higher. Don't get it twisted. People a lot of times confuse that, right? Competitiveness versus level, because you can have like 2 incredibly shitty teams going head to head, and that could be an incredibly competitive match because the teams are leveled as far as skill. They're shit, but they're leveled, right? So competitiveness doesn't equal good, right? So, and I'm not saying that Libertadores is shit, absolutely not. But it's very, very competitive. I think it's more competitive than the Champions League, in my opinion. Of course, Champions League has higher caliber clubs and players, but very entertaining competition. But anyways, I'm drifting away from the point. The point is, Raphael Veiga is considered one of the best players in his position. Low cost, 15 million. Palmeiras have promised him that they're willing to let him go this summer. He wants to try his luck out in Europe, and it's reported that Barcelona are seriously considering this option. So my question to you is, would you like to see Raphael Veiga in Barcelona? Yes, no, maybe, I don't care. Let me know in the chat section or in the comment section if you're watching this when it ends. Oh, look, I'm wearing green glasses just like Palmeiras colors, not on purpose. Street Fighter says, hey, Mo, if you are to bring back a former Barca that is currently playing, who will you bring back? That is a tough question, and I'll tell you why. Because I honestly not a believer in bringing players back. Unless, of course, it's something like, that happened kind of like out of just bad circumstances. Like for example, Messi, how he left. He left. It wasn't because he wanted to leave. It wasn't because the club wanted him to leave. It was just La Liga told us we cannot sign him. So something like that, sure, I'm always like open for a comeback of a player like that. Not to mean that I want Messi back. Like I've said before, I love Messi. I think he's the greatest ever, but we're past that. He's 38. He's been playing in the MLS for 2-3 seasons now. His level's definitely diminished. And he's near retirement, so I don't think he should be come back. But it's just to make an example. If a player leaves out of circumstances out of their hands, sure. But if a player leaves because he wants to leave or because the club wanted him to leave, I'm not really a big believer in bringing him back. It's kind of like, all right, you had your chance, you didn't. So I don't know. I don't know who I would bring back. No, maybe Grimaldo. That's the only option I could think of. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think? Who would you guys bring back? Let me know in the chat section or in the comment section down below. Manuel says, hey, Mo, given that we always bounce on signing free agents, do you think not signing Jonathan David could be a missed opportunity to strengthen our squad? I believe so. Because he's a free agent, right? Now, technically, he's not going to be free because when a player is free, they always demand the signing bonus because they're like, okay, you're saving money because you're not paying a transfer fee. I want part of that money that you're saving. So technically, he's not going to be free. Plus, his salary is going to be, not super high, but it's not going to be a salary of, for example, that Colombian player, Nasser Villarreal, right? I was like, we should sign him 100% because it's free and, his salary is going to be super low. And this guy's, there's going to be a signing bonus and there's going to be a salary involved. So it's going to be a spending. But he's still a free transfer, right? So I think I wouldn't mind signing him. But if Barcelona scouts and Flick believe that he wouldn't be a good fit because he's not a player that knows how to operate in close spaces, then they're the experts, right? So Flick hasn't given me any reason to doubt his judgment. So if he believes that it wouldn't be a good fit, then I say then he's not a good fit. All right, let's see. Texas Transport says, I am so get that mofo king kit if we sign a... Yeah, me too. Credit says, I really hope we don't get rid of Pablo Torres. Chesney and said he's one of the most technical players in the team. He can bring us a different profile in games. Here's the thing. Chesney might have said that, but at the end of the day, the one who knows most about what player is good or not is the coach. And Flick doesn't seem to be counting on him. So if he doesn't count on him, I think it's best to let him go. Not because I believe he's not good. I think Pablo Torre is a very promising player, and I think he should be playing and deserves to be playing. But there's just not enough space for him in Barca. So it's not that he's not playing because he sucks. He's not playing because there's too many players ahead of him. So at this point, I think it's better if he leaves, whether it be on loan or permanent transfer, because I think someone that talented deserves to play. And, if you just happen to be on a team where there are better players than you, doesn't mean that you suck. There's just better players than you, right? So go to a team where maybe there aren't that many players better than you. You always still want someone, at least one person who's better than you so you can learn from them. But when there's too many players better than you, it becomes a problem because then you're not getting the minutes that you should be getting. So I think at this point, I think it's a better option for him to go somewhere else. All right, let's do the last bit of news. Speaking of Brazilians, since we were talking about Raphael Veiga, let's talk about our own Gotinha, because, ladies and gentlemen, Gotinha has revealed the reason why he decided to stay at FC Barcelona. And this is what our captain had to say. The stage was very hectic. Every day we hear news that I'm going to join one team or another. Things didn't go as they should have. I had a worse season than expected, and I saw people calling for me to leave. And every day there was news of my departure. I seriously thought about leaving. Flick called me and asked me to come to training before deciding because he wanted to talk to me and was counting on me. That was a turning point in my decision to stay. I spoke to my wife and told her, if this man is fair and sees the effort I put in training, I'll make him love me in a week and he won't regret it. And I think I was right. So really amazing words by Gotinha, revealing that he really was very close to leaving Barcelona. So all those rumors linking him to other clubs, they were real. He had 2 terrible seasons at Barcelona. The fans wanted him out. Xabi wasn't really counting on him. Well, he did count on him, but he would always get subbed out. And he was very, very close to leaving. But then Flick arrived and called him and said, look, man, don't leave yet. Come to training. Let's see what you got. I count on you. And then Raphinha did. Impressed Flick. Flick got the best out of him. And now, completely new Raphinha. He's no longer Raphinha. He is now Gotinha, which just goes to show what an excellent coach Flick has been, right? First of all, the team's performance. Any coach that can pull that kind of performance out of his team has accomplished a lot, right? It's already an amazing accomplishment. But on top of that, you add to it the fact that he's done it in such a short period of time, right? Teams take several seasons to build. Projects still take several seasons, 2, 3, maybe even 4 seasons until everything clicks and the team starts working. But Flick has gotten this team to click in a mere weeks, maybe a few months, which only adds more to the amazing work he has done, which is to have the team play the way they're playing. And then you add another layer to that, which is that Flick has been able to work with what he got. Flick, when Barcelona met with him, said, look, we're broke. We sold a bunch of our assets and we spent all that money bringing signings. But now we're out of money. We don't have more assets to sell. So you're going to have to work with what we got. We're not going to sign you anyone. And Flick said, I don't care. Give me whatever. I'll make it work. And he literally did that. He wasn't just talking a big talk to get hired. He wasn't just trying to impress his interviewer. He literally did that. He arrived at Barcelona. They brought him what? Dani Olmo, that's it. I mean, yeah, we technically signed Pau Victor too, but Pau Victor was already at the club. He was on loan the season before. One player, just one signing. And Flick was like, I'll get the best out of all my players. I don't care if you bring me any. And he did. So he's playing great in a short period of time with whatever he got. Because look at all the projects, most projects that have succeeded. A, they've taken a long time, 2-3 seasons. And B, they've usually made a lot of signings. Arteta has made a lot of signings at Arsenal. Pep Guardiola, when he arrived in Man City, he made a lot of signings. Coaches usually make a lot of signings, and it takes them a while to get to where they at. Flick did it in a short period of time, no signings. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. Now, Raphinha also revealed the reason why he believes he's performing much better during the season, aside, of course, from the guidance of Flick. And this is what Gotinha, where'd he go? Gotinha had to say. The mental aspect is even more important than just taking care of your body. If your head isn't right, your body won't respond as it should. In the middle of last season, after my injury, I intensified my work with a psychologist. And all of that helped me a lot and made me understand my place, not only in football, but in life. As a man, as a father, and as a husband. So Raphinha revealing that one of the reasons why he's now performing much better is his mental strength, his mental space that he's in, that he was working with a psychologist. And that has helped him not only as a footballer, but also in his personal life, as a father, as a man, as a husband. And I think this is very important. It's very important, not so much as far as football, but I think just in general, because for the longest time, mental health has always been seen as a taboo. If you're a man and you complain that you're sad, or if you cry, or you say you're depressed, oh, you're just a little weenie, right? And thanks to people who are in high places speaking out about it, like Raphinha he's doing now, like Ferran did last season, I think this is important to make mental health mainstream thing. That is not taboo. That we all struggle mentally at some point in our lives, some more than others, but we all do, right? We get sad, we get depressed, we get anxious, we get angry, and that's okay. That's totally normal. And not only that, it's totally normal to seek help. If you have a fever and you go to the doctor, you're not embarrassed about that. You're not going to say, oh my God, I went to the doctor for a fever. What are people going to think? You don't think that, right? Something's wrong with your body. You go check it out. It's totally normal. So why not do the same thing for our mind? Our mind is a part of our body. It affects our health more than anything else. So if you're not feeling well mentally, go see someone. That's okay. You wouldn't be embarrassed if you saw a doctor because you broke your arm. Why would you be embarrassed to see a doctor if something doesn't feel right up here? And I think this is very important. And I'm glad that more players are speaking about this, like Raphinha, Ferran, and others, because mental health is very important. You can be the healthiest person physically speaking. You could eat healthy, drink plenty of water, exercise, sleep. You could be like this fucking machine, all buff and strong. But if you're not right up here, it doesn't matter. So it's very important that we take care of our mental health. So if you get anything out of this podcast today, forget Angel Gomes and Raphael Veiga and the Club World Cup. Forget all that. If there's one thing you can take out of this podcast is we need to take care of our mental health. It's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to seek help. And that goes for your loved ones too. Be there for them because mental health is very, very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. Almost more important. More important than physical health. Maybe the same. Very important though. All right, let's do the chat section. Let's see. We have a donation from Texas Transplant, who's always incredibly generous. He's a big help for my mental health because I see how much you guys, support this channel, and that is huge. But Texas Transplant says, don't have much else to say on this one except Vinny Jr. can go kick rocks and break his big toe for all I care. Here's a little cheddar donation for your great work. If you're ever in San Antonio, you better let a dude know. Oh my God, man, that's hilarious. I want him to stub his toe, and as he's jumping up on one foot because his toe is stubbed, I want him to step on a Lego. Is that too mean? But thank you, my friend, for your donation. And I'm actually planning a trip to Texas pretty soon. I got to go see a friend that lives in Austin. But I was kind of talking to her, and I was like, hey, maybe we should hit up San Antonio because I've never been to San Antonio. So, yes, my friend, I will keep you in mind. If that trip happens, I'll let you know. It will be great to go, grab a beer or a drink or a coffee or whatever. It'd be really cool to meet you. And again, thank you for always supporting your channel and for your generosity. And Richard says, Mo, is there a chance Gotinha comes early from Brazil? I'm going to talk about that in the next video, so I don't want to, ruin anything. Watch the next video because there is news about Gotinha. My man Cornell, who's still around, says Libertadores is fire. I haven't watched since 2020 when I moved to Germany, but the fans make it too entertaining on top of the skill on the pitch. Yeah, fans in South America is something else. I've been blessed that I've been able to go to a few matches in South America. Most recently I went and watched River Plate, which I posted the video on the channel, and the atmosphere in South America is out of this world, out of this fucking world. I mean, you think atmosphere is insane in Europe? It's child play compared to the atmospheres in South America, which makes even atmosphere in American stadiums and American sports seem like nothing and just absence, black hole. Because American sports are incredibly boring to watch at stadiums, by the way, because every stadium, every team, every sport, it's literally the same thing. You go to the stadium, doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, hockey, baseball. Tam, 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 tam. Do the chicken dance, do the kiss cam, scream defense. It's like, it's sad. It's pathetic. But that's why I don't watch American sports. It's really sad. But anyways, Bubakar says, hi, Mo. Shout out to yourself. I went to your channel and looked some of your old videos, man. Big respect. What a journey. You know what? It's so funny you say that because literally this was me 2 days ago. I went on my channel. I filtered. You can put like videos from oldest to newest. And I went back and watched a couple of videos from when I first started. And I was cringing. I was like, oh my God, that was bad. Like I'm like super like awkward and like uncomfortable. Like, I hadn't really developed that comfort in front of the camera. And who knows, I might watch this right now in 2-3 years and say, oh my God, I sucked then too. But it was really bad. It was really bad. I also had like this really small, crappy camera. I had a small, like $20 microphone that was on top. You can hear everything. Sometimes I would be doing laundry downstairs and you can hear like the washer and the dryer. You can hear people talking. Like, it was really bad. Even the light that I was using, it was like this little tiny light that I bought off Amazon for like $10 that you would screw in. And sometimes I'd be filming and the light would just run out of battery. And I'm like, crap. So I'd have to pause the filming. It would take forever to charge, 2-3 hours. So I would be just not doing anything for 2-3 hours and go back, film again. It was bad. It was bad. But thank you, my friend. Thank you. And please, guys, don't go back and watch those videos. They're horrible. Andres says, hello, Mo. I'm trying to think that Flick has a special plan for Ansu. It is hard to believe that the boy is completely finished. Chatting from Equatorial Guinea. All right, let's go. Yamal's mother country. Greetings. Isn't Balde also from? I know Balde, one parent is Dominican, but isn't his other parent from Equatorial Guinea? I know Ansu mom's, not Ansu, sorry, Lamin's mom for sure. But if you guys know where the other parent of Balde is, but that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. I don't think I've had anyone from Equatorial Guinea comment before, so that's pretty awesome. Thank you for watching and for your comment. And as far as Ansu, I don't know, man. Like, I want to think the same and say hopefully Flick has some kind of plan. But he's not even being included in squad lists. I mean, at least if he was a sub, you're like, all right, maybe. But to be completely excluded from squad list, it just seems that it's mostly a done deal, which sucks. Sucks because Ansu looked like he was gonna be, a big deal. Maybe not as talented as Lamine, but still, I think he could have been, up there. Of course, no one is talented as Lamine. Lamine is just out of this world. I think he's an alien. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. Paul says, "Hey Mo, I'm Paul Leo Davis from Liberia." I just read Leo as Lionel Messi, but Paul Leo Davis from Liberia. All our players returning from international break safe with no injury so far? Yes. Knock on wood. Of course, there's a second game that everyone has to play still. Hopefully, nothing serious happens. And Richard clarifying, yeah, Balde fam is also from Guinea, but not Equatorial Guinea, right? Or Equatorial Guinea, because aren't they both two different countries? There's Equatorial Guinea and then there's Guinea, or is my geography just completely shite because my geography is not the best, so I do apologize. Anyways, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in, for your comments, your likes, your incredibly generous donations. I will be doing another video, so stay tuned to that. Lots of good news. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be making kind of like a special documentary about Laporta Gate. Laporta Gate. It's the scandal that Laporta's involved in. There's accusations. He's saying it's a lie. There's a court proceeding going on. I just found out about it. I thought it was a very interesting thing. So I want to watch the documentary that just came out. I want to read a little bit more about it. I want to do some research. And then I just want to present you guys with the facts. And then you guys decide. Of course, I believe strongly innocent until proven guilty. So that video is not going to be a video to accuse Laporta of anything, just to let you know what this case is about, because Laporta is involved in a corruption case. So I want to make a video about it. I thought it was interesting. I always like those kind of documentaries. So I thought maybe you guys will be interested too. So stay tuned for that video. I don't know if I'll post that video tonight or tomorrow, but tonight, definitely there's going to be a news video. So stay tuned to that. Anyways, no more blabbering. No more blabbering. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the video later tonight.